This is the Do Weekly podcast, and I'm Alex Vasquez.
And I'm Natalie MacLeese.
Every week, we take you through a series of small business challenges.
For small business owners to make your business better.
And today, we're talking about something that we could really use, especially after that introduction.
Yeah, definitely.
So now, what are we talking about today?
Well, do you want to talk about last week's challenge first?
Oh, snap. Yeah, let's talk about that first. So last week's challenge was to inventory our time.
And I had to drag you kicking and screaming into this task.
Yeah, I thought this thing was dumb. And let me tell you, this thing sucks. But it sucks because of how illuminating and useful it actually is.
So let's talk a little bit about exactly what the challenge was.
So the challenge was to get a handle on how, as a business owner, how we spend our time. So there's how many hours in a week?
168.
My guess is that you listening, could probably spend your time more effectively than you currently do. But how would you know unless you get some insight into how you spend your time, right?
Yeah, so the point of this was to kind of get a handle on exactly where your time is going now, because it might not be where you think, and then to look for places where you could make some changes to maybe make your work-life balance a little better, or to make the time that you spend working on your business a little more productive.
Right, and I know that for me, one of the things that I always grapple with is I feel like I'm working, and I don't get things done. Or I just kind of feel stale, like I'm doing anything fun. You know, I feel like I'm kind of stuck in business mode the whole time. So this was a really good exercise to kind of figure out how I spend that time and try to figure out, well, what can I change? Because now I have data staring me in the face.
Now you have data staring you in the face. Do you want to talk a little bit about what were some things that surprised you?
Well, some things that surprised me, I thought I got enough sleep. Last year I made it a point to really sleep more, to get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep, to get up early. And I was surprised to see that I don't sleep as much as I should. I'm getting 5 to 6 hours reliably, and that's not good.
No, you should be getting at least 7.5.
Yeah, and I see that because I can see that I'm staying up until 11:30 or midnight or even a little bit later, and I'm not doing anything productive with that time. I know now that I should be more mindful with how I spend those hours, those late night hours. I should be calling it a night sooner, but I'm not.
What do you think it is that's keeping you awake?
Sometimes it's work. Sometimes I'll just be, catching up on projects that I just didn't take enough time to work on during the week. Because I get anxiety over things that might be due, or maybe things that are overdue. So I'll do some of that. Also, I spend a little too much time watching shows at night, and I'd say I watch more TV than I thought I did, which is kind of depressing because that was another thing I prided myself on too. And nah, bro, you suck. You watch way too much TV. So.
Well, as we discussed last week, I was concerned that my TV watching time was getting to be a little bit out of control, and I think that doing this exercise this week confirmed that is definitely the case. Although it's a little bit strange because the time that I'm spending sitting there watching TV, I'm not just sitting on the couch watching TV, I'm doing something else, which I don't think that's great either.
And I agree with that because I think one of the things that we see in society now, especially in today's day and age, because you can multitask and do so many things at once, we're not present in whatever it is that we are doing. And I think that leads to just having a sort of scatter-mindedness, if you will. It's not a real word, but we should be focusing on doing less and doing it better, I think.
Yeah, and probably doing just one thing at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing at a time. One thing at a time, being very mindful about it. So while I was not a fan of this exercise, it's made me more mindful of how I'm spending my time, throughout the day. What am I doing? So this was good. And I used a Google Sheet to kind of track that. And I just had a column for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, up through day 7. And then I just listed the time from 12 a.m. all the way to, 12 a.m. the following day.
Nice. I did my legal pad.
Legal pad? Because you like paper, you like pens, and ecocide.
Well, hey, I recycle the paper.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go check.
I have like a whole bin of paper that has only writing or printing on one side that I use for scratch paper.
Well, my paper is completely GMO free, and it's organic.
Made of electrons?
Sure. Why not? So now you wrote everything down, which I find interesting because there was another thing that I had done for my personal finances some months ago where I had written down every single one of my expenses over a 90-day period. And that was brutal because, one, it's a lot of writing. And two, I think the exercise of writing everything down really hammers it home. Do you find that that's why you do it like that instead of a spreadsheet?
Maybe that's why I could see with that spending exercise, I would skip buying something just because I didn't feel like writing it down. But with this exercise, you had to write down what you were doing no matter what you were doing. So I don't feel like that would be a deterrent for this case.
Just curious.
Just, I don't know, just my preference for pencil and paper. Always pencil, by the way, never pen.
I don't know. I've got a cross pen that disagrees with you. So, and by the way, folks, you have two people who are huge stationery nerds.
Yeah,
I love stationery. I love the shit out of stationery.
Do you want to go to a stationery store after this?
We should totally record one of these podcasts at my favorite stationery store.
That would be awesome.
It's awesome. We should do that. Like, we should totally do it. I'm sure they'd say yes.
Yeah, I don't know why they would turn us away.
Maybe we should have them do our stationery.
Do we need stationery for a podcast?
Good point. Look, I'm not the brains in this outfit. Actually, I kind of am. Anyway, well, that got weird. So
you're at least half the brains.
Yay. I think I've got some takeaways here. I could definitely be more mindful about when I sleep and then, how much time I spend multitasking and try to really focus one thing at a time.
Yeah, I think the same for me. I stayed up way too late on several nights this week, and that's no good because I don't sleep in the morning to make up for that. So that's just sleep that I lose, basically. So getting more sleep. And then, the point of this exercise isn't to try to make every waking hour productive. It's not trying to, you're not trying to be like constantly working on your business or working on your house. Part of this exercise is to find time that can be downtime for you, that can be a break, where you're purposefully not being productive, but then to also be mindful of how you're spending that time. Because I think we default to doing the things that are easy. We default to plopping on the couch and turning on Netflix when maybe we're not the kind of person who finds that fulfilling. There are people who are, film buffs and they absolutely love watching films. And for them, that might be the perfect hobby. But if you're not that kind of person, maybe that's not the most fulfilling way you could be spending that time. And maybe you could be more intentional about, doing yoga or just doodling in a notepad or listening to music or playing an instrument or, something else that you actually find personally fulfilling.
Well, and I think that's an amazing point right there. And that part of the thing that I mentioned to you, and I said it just a bit ago, is, I kind of feel stale in what I'm doing because, I feel like I'm always doing the same stuff. I'm very regimented. And also, I'm spending time doing things that, are entertaining but not fulfilling. And there's a huge difference there. So, what part of this has been to find time where I can do something more fulfilling. And one of those things that I'm doing is, on Monday evenings, instead of, watching TV or something, there's this improv class that I've been dropping into from time to time. And, it's just a different thing, and it stretches the brain in a different way than, some of these other activities. And just that by itself is exciting. It changes my outlook. It changes my perspective a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Yeah. I've been doing some belly dance classes.
What?
And swimming classes.
Oh. It's interesting because, I know people like yourself. It feels like everyone I know has a ton of hobbies. And I'm like, I've got 2 hobbies. And I feel so dull.
Are they hobbies you can share on the podcast?
Nope. But at least with the improv stuff, that's a thing that's right down my alley, and I absolutely have been having a fun time with it. So, and that's a thing that I'll continue to make time for, and I know what I can cut out to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Less time surfing the internet while watching Netflix.
I was going to say less time looking in a mirror, checking out my hair, talking to myself, and saying how pretty I look.
How many hours was that this past week?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think we
15,
got the idea. That's
16.
Yeah.
22, 24. Look, it's a lot of time, okay? So I think we have our takeaways. And we want to know what came out of it from you all. Like, how did it go? What did you all learn? Like, leave us a comment on this episode. Let's start a discussion. And, if you have any tips that you want to share, you can hit us up on our Instagram or Twitter.
Do Weekly Podcast.
At Do Weekly Podcast, all over the place. But is there anything else we need to say there for that?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing from people about how it went. Like, we knew it sucked. It wasn't fun.
Yeah,
but
totally not fun.
Hopefully you found it worthwhile.
I want to say that if you really did it, then you got something out of it. And
we give you a gold star.
Did we?
Yeah.
Where's my gold star?
No, it's just like a virtual gold star.
What kind of bullshit is that, Natalie? When are we going to start giving out like real stuff on this podcast?
Well, as soon as we get some sponsors.
That is true. We have right now, I think, one sponsor.
One sponsor.
Go Pantheon Hosting. So anyway, moving on. So what's our challenge this week?
Oh, this is a really fun and exciting challenge this week.
Now, this one is a little hard because I don't really like it too much, but it has to do with the elevator pitch.
Yeah, your challenge is to create the elevator pitch for your business.
Now, don't people say that elevator pitches are a bad idea?
Do they?
During the early days of the internet, 1.0, pre-bubble, people, VCs, startups, everyone walked around with an elevator pitch like they're going to meet someone, well, literally in an elevator and, pitch their great, world-beating idea.
And get $1 million.
And, well,
right there in the elevator.
It was probably like $2 million.
Oh.
Come on.
All right.
Come on. You should know better. So disappointed. And I think people sometimes look down at an elevator pitch as, just a way to brag about your business really quick. It's a very tech bro-y sort of thing to do, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not just for getting investments.
No, it's about communicating the value of what you do in a digestible and bite-sized manner.
And you should be able to do it anytime you need to.
You should feel comfortable with it, and it should give just enough information for people who might need what it is that you have to offer to understand it and then know how to contact you.
Or maybe they know someone
who needs what you got.
So you want to give them information that they could share.
Yeah, and this is something that we've been talking about, even for, our own podcast here. But this is something that I'm notoriously bad at because, there's different ways to pitch yourself. And I don't really have an elevator pitch. And it doesn't, when I say elevator pitch too, I'm just talking like an introduction, telling people what you do without sounding like a pinhead. I mean, I don't have a better way to put that, but it's one of those things that I try to think about. So that's today's exercise. Working on elevator pitches and trying to improve how we do them so that we can more effectively and efficiently communicate with business prospects.
Or anyone you meet.
Or other human beings.
Just other humans.
Other humans.
I don't know. Chimpanzees might be interested.
True fact. Chimpanzees give 0 fucks about your business.
Elephants are some of my favorite clients.
You don't have... What? So let's talk about the exercise. Like what are some good tips that make for a good elevator pitch?
You definitely want to be able to be confident and clear and not stuttering and not saying, I kind of do this and you don't want to sound like that.
Yeah, when you talk, it should be very, matter of fact, this is what I do. It should exude a level of confidence. Not overconfidence, but this is what I do. You should sound like you're supposed to be doing it, like you belong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I never sound like that.
You never sound like you belong.
No, I always feel like I'm apologizing. Hey, yeah, you know what? It's crazy. I'm here. I market, for websites and, it's not even really good. I'm sorry. Pardon me. It's all very Canadian.
You're not Canadian.
I'm definitely not Canadian. No offense to Canadians. That was
your elevator pitch. Then I'm glad we're doing this exercise, and we're going to hear your much better pitch next week.
What's your pitch?
Well, I'm not going to share mine.
Oh, what?
I'll share my finished one next week. Alex, that's why we're doing the challenge.
Now we're fighting. Great. Now we're fighting. Again.
I have to never talk to you again.
Let's go over some other tips. Like what makes for a good pitch.
For a good pitch. Who you are.
Who you are.
What you do.
What you do.
Who you do it for.
Who you do it for.
And why you do it.
To the point.
That's like 4 W's.
Do we want to call it 4 dubs?
We could. The 4 dubs of an elevator pitch.
The 4 dubs of an elevator pitch.
Now, Do you have to deliver an elevator pitch in an elevator?
I was researching this on the internet, and the answer is yes. You can only deliver an elevator pitch on an elevator going up between the 3rd and 9th floors. Anything above or below, cannot do. Not acceptable.
I think you're lying.
I think I am too. Now that we know what you should do, the 4 dubs, maybe it's easier for us to figure out what a bad example is. We took a look at an article from strategypeak.com, elevator pitch examples, and there's one example here. Did you want to read it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to be this person. I'm going to be Shannon Smith.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Shannon Smith, and I am the CEO of Hydrolyzer Water Company. We manufacture the Hydrolyzer Max Lite, a commercial-grade water purification system that uses a triplane osmotic process that dramatically reduces the content of impurities in drinking water. Unlike competing systems, our patented osmotic process uses 1/3 the power of a traditional water purifier, while reducing the installation space to half. Our modular construction takes less than 36 hours to install, and best of all, its price is less than 60% of similar systems. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch a video showing the hydrolyzer in operation in a remote village in Ghana, West Africa.
Boring! So, look, if Shannon Smith came up to me and gave that pitch to me, and I've been pitched this way many times before, my big problem with this is that it's to look at it, it doesn't look like a line. It's just like a paragraph.
Yeah.
But it's very wordy.
And very long.
Very long. It talks it reads long.
And
yeah.
I feel that it uses some jargon, like triplane osmotic process. Mm-hmm. No one knows what that is except for Shannon.
That's right. So if Shannon's out there at a BNI meeting, or something else, she's going to say this to someone and their eyes are going to glaze over, and that's going to be a lost opportunity.
And they're going to say, oh, look at the time.
Is that what happens to me all the time?
Pretty much. In fact, Alex, look at the time.
Okay, no, that's not happening to me today. Nice try. So what if we took the same example, whittled it down a little bit, and reread it?
Okay, do I get to be Shannon again?
You get to be Shannon again. So this time, try not to bore me to tears.
All right.
Shannon, you're up.
Hi, my name is Shannon Smith, and I'm the CEO of Hydrolyzer Water Company. We manufacture commercial-grade water purification systems that use 1/3 the power and take up half the space of a traditional water purifier. Our modular construction takes less time to install and costs 60% less.
Bam. Now, even that was significantly shorter. So
yes.
I would say it was less than half the length of the previous one that you read.
And no jargon about triplane osmotic processes.
Yeah, and this is something that I think anyone can take and derive meaning from it.
Yeah, I think that probably for most people, the first thing you write is going to be too long. Because you're going to want to say, oh, and I want to include this, and I want to include this. And it's going to take some careful editing to get it down to 3, maybe 4 sentences.
You should talk about the value. Rather than jargon, always focus on the value or the unique value proposition. Okay, now that we kind of know what a bad pitch is versus a good pitch, a better pitch.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that you can practice that is by recording yourself.
Yes, which sounds uncomfortable, but it's actually very helpful.
And that's because, as we saw, it's one thing to read your pitch. It's another thing to say it, because some things read one way, but sound much different. And why is that?
Yeah, you might find certain wording that you wrote is kind of awkward when you actually try to say it. You might find that you wrote down things that aren't very conversational, don't sound that friendly. So I think it's a good idea to say your pitch many times. Eventually you want to have it memorized where you can roll that out whenever you need to, whenever an opportunity comes up to use it. But it is meant to be something that's spoken. So you want to practice speaking it. So you can do that in front of your mirror. You can do it with your pets. You can do it with friends and family. And you can do it by recording yourself. So I think most of us can record ourselves on our phone or with our computer. And you don't have to show the video to anyone. But just to watch yourself and listen to yourself as you're giving that. Do you sound confident? Are you talking too fast or too slow? Are you getting all of your main points across? Do you seem friendly and welcoming, or do you seem stern? Or do you seem like you're delivering something memorized?
And doing a video of yourself too, it's a lot. I think there's a lot to be said for facial expression and just even how you look as you're delivering your pitch.
Yeah, your body language.
Your body language. So all of that comes through. So definitely, when you record yourself, do the video. Even if you don't like videos of yourself, just do the video. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, do the video. You can record it. It only takes 30 seconds to a minute. Then you can watch it in 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can delete it, and no one ever needs to know. That's
true. And I am definitely going to delete all of these because I don't want Natalie posting mine up on the internet and stuff, because that would be very, very not nice.
Aw, I wouldn't do that to you.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for.
That's what friends are for. No. So now we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do, how to approach it, and maybe, do you think we need to talk a little bit about, the value of the pitch, or where we might use it?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you could use it at the hairdressers.
You could use it at the kickboxing gym.
You could use it at a networking event.
You could use it at a graveyard movie theater event.
Wow, okay. You could use it at a professional conference.
You could use it at a professional conference.
That was a copy of me.
Oops. Sorry. Going back. And every week, I'm always tasked with talking to people at the SBDC, so whenever I talk to them, I can have a good introduction. My name is Alex Vasquez. This is what I do. This is who I do it for. This is how I'm going to help you.
So basically, it's anytime you meet somebody who says, hey, what do you do?
And you have an interesting to the point method for doing so that communicates your value and hopefully connects you to your next client.
You never know who you meet. They might become a client. They might know somebody who's going to become a client.
There's always an opportunity. Get that elevator pitch in, lock it down, memorize it.
Be confident.
Be confident and stuff.
And stuff.
And stuff.
And like always, we'll meet back here in a week to see how it went, and you'll get to hear our pitches.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. With that said, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast.
Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts.
And you better leave a 5-star review. Or who's out there leaving 1-star reviews of podcasts, by the way?
Very angry people.
Very angry people. If you're angry, maybe don't listen to us. But if you're happy, and you know it, leave us a 5-star review.
What if somebody is angry when they start listening, but then they get happy?
Leave us a 5-star review.
Exactly.
That's so easy. Even a cat could do it.
Even a cat could do it, for sure.
For sure. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you here again next week.
See you next week.